Imagine the internet's favorite couple, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, suddenly finding themselves at the center of a Hollywood storm. For years, these two have been the gold standard for celebrity relationships. Funny, glamorous, and seemingly down-to-earth. But now, the curtain is being pulled back, and what's being revealed is anything but pretty. A wave of celebrities, creators, and even former friends are stepping forward, claiming that Blake Lively in particular has been running a behind-the-scenes scam, using her power, influence, and charm to manipulate, exploit, and sabotage those around her. The stories are piling up, and the details are shocking. Let's start at the beginning, with a story that set the tone for what many now call Blake's pattern of behavior. Back in 2014, Blake launched Preserve, her own lifestyle brand. The site was supposed to be her answer to Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop, a curated marketplace for artisanal goods, handmade crafts, and rustic home decor. But almost as soon as it launched, Preserve was mocked for being out of touch and overpriced. Candles that cost more than a week's groceries, awkwardly rustic kitchenware, and random knickknacks filled the site, but few people bought in. Blake later claimed that the site failed because it was too ahead of its time. But that's not what small creators say. Multiple artisans have since spoken up, alleging that Blake's team ordered samples from them under fake names, copied their designs, and then ghosted them. Their unique work, they say, ended up on Preserve with no credit and no compensation. For these small business owners, it felt like their creativity was simply harvested and repackaged under Blake's brand, leaving them invisible and exploited. But the allegations don't stop at HomeGoods. In 2017, Blake was attached to star in the CBS Films thriller The Husband's Secret. Around the same time, an indie screenwriter surfaced online claiming that her script had been passed around Hollywood for years and had somehow been reworked into the very movie that Blake was now set to headline. What made this even more suspicious was that Blake was suddenly listed as an executive producer on the project, a title that, in Hollywood, often means more about power and portfolio than actual production work. While major entertainment outlets didn't touch the story, the timing and details fueled suspicions that Blake had a hand in taking creative credit for someone else's work. For many, it looked like another case of Blake using her influence to edge out the original creators and put her own stamp on a project she didn't originate. If you think this is just about business deals gone wrong, think again. The stories go back even further, all the way to Blake's breakout days on Gossip Girl. According to resurfaced interviews and behind-the-scenes accounts, Blake allegedly tried to poison the cast against co-star Penn Badgley simply because she didn't like him. She reportedly convinced the rest of the cast to ice him out, making him feel unwelcome and isolated. It took weeks for the others to realize that Penn was actually a good guy, but by then, the damage was done. When Blake and Penn eventually broke up, Penn's career reportedly took a nosedive. Some insiders claim he was quietly blacklisted in the industry, all because Blake was no longer cool with him. The pattern here is clear. When Blake decides someone is out, they're really out. And Penn wasn't the only one to feel the chill. Actor Armie Hammer, who played Blake's love interest on Gossip Girl, has hinted that his early exit from the show was because of her. In interviews, he described the set as tough and implied that Blake was the reason he didn't finish filming all his episodes. He didn't name names, but the implication was clear. The environment was so toxic that he had to walk away. When pressed, he admitted that he was Blake's love interest on the show, and the interviewers immediately picked up on the subtext: Blake was the problem. Fast forward to more recent years, and the pattern seems to repeat itself. On the set of It Ends With Us, Blake reportedly had a major falling out with director Justin Baldoni. According to sources close to the production, Blake turned the set against him, echoing her past tactics from Gossip Girl. Co-stars and even the film's author, Colleen Hoover, have since distanced themselves from Blake, fueling rumors that she manipulated the production to her advantage. People are convinced that Blake might have caught feelings for Baldoni and started behaving like a bitter, jilted lover when he didn't reciprocate. The fallout was so intense that her co-stars and collaborators began to see the bigger picture. Blake, they realized, had played them too. Blake's alleged diva behavior wasn't limited to her TV and film sets. During the press tour for A Simple Favor, the tension between Blake and co-star Anna Kendrick was so thick you could cut it with a knife. One of the producers even said that Blake was impossible to work with, while Blake accused Anna of stealing the spotlight during promotions. Fans and body language experts noticed the discomfort in their interviews and red carpet appearances. Anna, for her part, has remained mostly silent, but the awkwardness was impossible to ignore. It was yet another example of Blake's tendency to freeze out anyone she saw as a threat or rival. Meanwhile, multiple small creators who worked with or supplied products for Preserve have come forward saying they felt used and discarded. The most common complaint: Blake's team would request samples and ideas, only to later see similar products appear on the site with no credit or compensation. Many felt their work was simply harvested and repackaged under Blake's brand. For these artists and entrepreneurs, it was a harsh lesson in how quickly Hollywood can chew you up and spit you out. Whenever conflict arises, Blake is quick to play the gender card, claiming she's being pitted against other women. But according to Gossip Girl executive producer Joshua Safran, Blake and co-star Leighton Meester were friends, but not friendly, Hollywood code for barely tolerating each other. The awkwardness in their press tours only fueled speculation that Blake was difficult behind the scenes. In one interview, Leighton even joked, "Everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway," a subtle dig that didn't go unnoticed by fans. It's impossible to ignore the fact that similar allegations have been made about Ryan Reynolds. From directors to co-stars, many have described him as controlling and dismissive, with some even calling him toxic on set. Director Tim Miller, who helmed the first Deadpool film, left the franchise because, according to him, Ryan wanted complete control over every aspect of the production. Tim said, if he decides that he wants control of it, then he's going to control it. Actor TJ Miller, who played Weasel in Deadpool, has also spoken out, saying he would never work with Ryan again because of how he was treated on set. Even Ryan's leading lady in Deadpool, Morena Baccarin, was reportedly sidelined in the sequel after a real-life fallout with him. The couple's joint reputation for steamrolling creative projects and sidelining colleagues is now under serious scrutiny. The backlash is starting to hit where it hurts. Blake's Instagram following has dropped by hundreds of thousands since the allegations began resurfacing. More tellingly, industry insiders and former collaborators are publicly distancing themselves, and some are even sharing their stories for the first time. The cracks in the couple's carefully constructed image are starting to show, and Hollywood is no longer letting it slide. What emerges from all these stories is a clear pattern. Using power and status to manipulate sets and productions, sabotaging the careers of those who fall out of favor, exploiting small creators and taking credit for their work, freezing out or humiliating co-stars who challenge them, and leveraging executive producer titles for influence rather than actual work. For years, questioning A-listers like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds was considered forbidden territory. But with the rise of social media and independent creators, more people are willing to speak out, even if it means risking backlash from Hollywood's elite. The image of Blake Lively as America's sweetheart is cracking, and the stories coming out now are too consistent to ignore. Whether it's manipulating co-stars, exploiting creatives, or using her influence to sideline rivals, the allegations paint a picture of someone willing to do whatever it takes to stay on top. So, what do you think? Are Blake and Ryan just victims of Hollywood gossip, or is there truth behind the avalanche of accusations? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you want more deep dives into Hollywood's biggest scandals and untold stories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring you the real stories behind the headlines. So hit that bell and stay tuned for more.